This is 7 News, the voice of regional WA.
Tonight, hundreds of millions to help move WA toward a greener energy future. Trying to fix a childcare crisis on the Goldfields. The father of Ashwarya Ashwaf on a southwest trek to raise awareness.
And I'll have the weekend forecast for your place. Those details soon.
7 News begins now.
Hello and welcome to 7 News. $700 million will be spent upgrading our state's energy grid. The announcement came at WA's first Energy Transition Summit today. The state and Canberra both announced major funding boosts to help WA meet its emission goals. Here's Nick Overall.
At its first ever climate summit, the state government firmed up its bid for WA to hit net zero by 2050, but conceded gas will be critical to getting there. Premier Roger Cook used the event to announce a $700 million boost to WA's primary power grid. The improved transmission lines are set to pave the way for renewable energy projects like solar and wind farms.
It unlocks the private sector investment into wind farms and other renewable energy infrastructure in our Midwest, which is probably the best place in the world for renewable energy.
Federal Energy Minister Chris Bowen is also in Perth today. He announced a $70 million investment to get Kwinana's new hydrogen hub up and running. It's on track for completion by 2027.
Green hydrogen is the way we're going to export Western Australia's renewable energy primarily. Get it on ships and ship the sunshine to Europe and to Asia.
As WA moves towards its net zero target, both state and federal governments say gas will be essential to that transition, especially as they look to phase out coal-fired power stations by 2030. They are determined not to jeopardise energy supply to international partners, though. Last year, the state's LNG sales were worth more than $56 billion.
And while announcements were being made around sustainable power, a small but loud group of WA students have put down their pens and skipped school in the name of climate change. It was part of nationwide strike action. Protesters marched through Perth calling on the major miners to end coal and gas production. Around 2,000 homes across regional WA will benefit from cheaper, cleaner energy thanks to a new partnership. Under the state and federal scheme, rooftop solar panels will be installed across 5 remote communities. Almost $20 million has been made available for the initiative. About 400 families are set to benefit. A severe shortage of childcare has been uncovered in our state's Goldfields region. A council survey has found it can take up to a year for families to secure a place. Parents are either staying home or leaving the region.
Parents in Kalgoorlie Boulder are waiting between 7 and 12 months to get their children into childcare. A recent survey found a significant gap caused by a lack of staff.
It's having educators who are a lot more local and engaged in our community, having the childcare numbers looked at. It's having things like our scholarships. We are slowly, with the work of the state government, helping to put more back into our childcare sector.
Of those surveyed, more than half of parents surveyed can't go back to work because of a lack of suitable childcare, and felt a financial and emotional strain when it comes to early education for their kids. But there's not much facilities can do to change things.
They are absolutely full. They have waiting lists that go on for some have a waiting list that is about 2 years long. There is a huge demand for childcare up there, but we are finding it very challenging to recruit educators and to hold on to them.
The Nature Alliance Family Daycare says of its 9 centres, there aren't any available places. It's even looking at government exemptions to increase the ratio of children per staff member.
The educators all try to give alternative solutions, so to look at long daycares, to look at other forms of childcare, but there is nothing.
For many parents, they either need to leave the town or simply can't work.
I just wish we had more childcare in Kalgoorlie. I feel for the parents. I really do feel for them because they are, they've got nowhere to turn really.
Maya Grieve, 7 News.
A Senate inquiry has begun into last week's network collapse of telco giant Optus. Today, the company's CEO and managing director have been in the hot seat. The network went down early last Wednesday and left customers without service for most of the day. Affected customers have been offered 200 gigabytes of free data. It's estimated about $36,000 in compensation has already been paid out. CEO Kelly Bayer-Rosman says she has no plans to step down and will take the feedback on board. A report from the committee is expected to be delivered in less than a month. And as Optus customers discovered staying connected can be difficult. But staying connected in our regions at the best of times can be even harder. Now, a recent federal inquiry into mobile infrastructure could help provide some solutions.
It's hard to deny our digital age. From online banking to simply staying in touch, having a device in hand is commonplace.
Mobile service is not a nice to have, it's a must have.
But for residents in our regions, staying connected is becoming a concern. A new inquiry into the infrastructure that connects us in the regions could be a lifeline to fixing that. And it's all in the title, Connecting the Country, Mission Critical.
Sometimes the telcos go, you know what? We don't want to go there because even with that incentive, it's going to cost us money to maintain the tower, it's going to cost us money to operate the tower, and we're not going to get a return on investment. What this inquiry is doing is saying, hey, let's take a fresh look at the infrastructure needs out there, maybe look at more sharing, more co-location. We're looking at absolutely everything to make sure that country people get a decent mobile service.
After 17 public hearings, 23 recommendations will now be presented to the Federal Communications Minister on how to keep the country connected.
This was members of Parliament working towards the common goal of getting a really good solution for people right across the country, but more coordination, more sharing, more co-location. Yeah, what we really need is making sure governments invest in the bush to make sure everybody in Australia gets access to mobile service. We need it.
Amanda Sabatino, 7 News.
A huge milestone today for the father of Aishwarya Ashwath, the little girl who died while waiting for care at the Perth Children's Hospital. He's walked almost 300 kilometres from Perth to Margaret River to raise awareness and money for the foundation set up in his daughter's name.
300 kilometres on foot, in rain or shine, with both legs fully strapped. This is the journey one father took to raise awareness in the memory of his daughter Aishwarya, who tragically died in 2021.
In the beginning, we are trying to spread awareness about Aishwarya's foundation and our vision about what we want to do.
The 7-year-old was waiting for care in the Perth Children's Hospital. An inquest revealed she was suffering from sepsis and her death may have been prevented if she'd been given care sooner. Her father Ashwath is raising funds for her foundation, including around-the-clock medical centres in WA.
The statistics says half of the people who end up in emergency department, they don't have to go to emergency department and they're clogging the system. So, to free the emergency department, and if we can have an alternate option, that would be excellent.
He left Perth last Friday and trekked through Mandurah, Bunbury and onto Margaret River. His wife, Prasita, drove to shopping centres along the way to sell raffle tickets.
This is very important for Ashwath and Prasita, shining the light on the need for change in our health and hospital system, so no family ever has to go through what they have.
7 days on the road, and although he's a bit stiff and sore, it's a journey that'll be remembered.
By walking, by doing these kilometres, this is hard work, and that's why I think this is. This would stay in my heart for the rest of my life.
Pipwala, 7 News.
Very warm temperatures in the north today. With the details, here's Amanda Sabatino.
That's right. Thanks, Noel. There's a broad low pressure trough extending from the northern interior to the northern Gascoyne. That's moving slowly north over the inland Pilbara. Meantime, there's a low pressure trough near the west coast and a high pressure ridge to the south. Across our north today, 42 the top in Kununurra. Fitzroy Crossing was our hotspot though, 44 degrees. Cooler in Karratha and reaching 36 degrees degrees in Newman today. Clear skies moving into the central west, 33 in Carnarvon, 18 overnight in Geraldton, 36 today. And into the Goldfields, 24 the top in Laverton, similar temperatures in Kalgoorlie there. Sunshine further south too, 29 in Bustleton, similar conditions in Manjimup today. And along the coast, dipping to 9 overnight in Lake Grace, 21 today in Esperance. A very dry day on the rain map today. 6 mils was the most recorded in the gauge to 9 a.m. That was falling in Forest. 4 mils recorded in Ayr and just 0.4 of a mil in Gibb River. On our weather wall tonight, a big hello to James, Aidan and Trevor from the Cassia Education Support Centre, and hello to Matilda, Felicia and Bentley from Carnama District High School. A great effort, everybody. Well done. And I'll have your weekend forecast coming up a little later on after sport.
OK, thanks, Amanda. See you soon. Out ahead tonight in 7 News, why a southwest train will grind to a halt, and authorities shutting down a timber tourist attraction. Well, it's almost the end of the line for the Australian train, at least for a while. One of the last trains pulled into Bunbury earlier today. From this weekend, the line will be closing due to heavy construction work on the Armidale line in Perth. Replacement coaches will be running twice a day in each direction and tickets will be half price. The Australind should be running again in 18 months. 2 huge trees in our south will be closed for the next year for repairs. The Gloucester and Dave Evans bicentennial trees in Pemberton are 61 metres tall. Climbing to the top is quite a drawcard for tourists. Authorities say while they carry out repairs, you can visit, just not climb them.
Oh, if you're planning on visiting the Southern Forests and Valleys area, there's lots of things to see and do in and around the national parks. We certainly encourage people to come and drop in and pay their respects to the climbing trees.
A high rope and zip line are due to be opened at the Gloucester tree next month. Diversity is set to be celebrated at this year's Meet You at Maidens event in Bunbury. Around 300 people are expected to flock to Maiden Reserve for the event at the weekend. Organisers spent today mapping out the festivities. From Irish musicians to a didgeridoo player, the festival celebrates the best of Bunbury's diverse community.
We might not know our neighbour's story or their heritage, and this way we can learn a bit more about it and we can appreciate it, because we're really such a fortunate community where we have a wealth of cultures.
It runs from 12 until 4 on Sunday. Time now for a look at the markets. Here's Kelly Toddman from CBH.
Hello. WA's harvest is almost at the halfway mark, with more than 6 million tonnes of grain delivered. It's been a challenging week for some growers who have seen their harvest programs interrupted by wild weather. Local wheat prices have softened since last Friday thanks to the strengthening Australian dollar. Demand is low, with cheap wheat from the Black Sea being sold into Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, international wheat markets remain weak. Local barley values are steady despite the stronger Aussie dollar. International demand is holding prices firm in the short term. Canola has seen a rally in the market this week as a result of ongoing dry conditions in South America. There are mixed weather reports for Brazil, which could see continued price volatility for WA growers. 2 fertiliser and Australian importers are shipping in their first phosphate cargoes. Globally, news of China's recent export ban is yet to impact the market, though price pressure is expected. Potash values continue to move downward as volume buyers in Southeast Asia and Brazil hold out. The market is unchanged for urea and UAN. And that's a wrap for this week's grain and fertiliser markets.
Sport is next tonight. A swing at the big time for a Bunbury-born boxer. And the rally car set to tear up a southwest city streets. The Fremantle Dockers today landed on the south coast as part of their Great Southern Tour. Primary school students from Albany had the chance to get up close with some AFL royalty. The camp wraps up tomorrow before the team turns to season 2024.
Dockers fans in the Great Southern have been brushing shoulders with some top players. Caleb Sarong grew up in country Victoria. He hopes to inspire other regional players.
If you're in the country, it doesn't matter. It's the pathway's still there, and we're really excited to give back to the community because, as I said last night, you see the passion from all fans, but yeah, the young kids absolutely love it.
The players have run school clinics in Tambalup and now Albany, even a panel discussion for local fans.
Yeah, we were at Sportsman's Night last night and seeing the passion and the love that those Freo fans have for us. I know for me that's motivating, and a fair few of them travel up, but some of them don't have that opportunity, so any chance we can, I guess, get in the community is really exciting.
Caleb says the team is looking good this pre-season and some prime-time fixture slots have helped to keep spirits high.
Optus is a pretty cool place to play, especially under lights. Saturday, Friday night, we're excited. Some big games, and that's something that the club is really going to embrace.
After finishing 14th last season, the focus is now on confidence and communication.
We're at a stage now where we can really hit this pre-season and really have that as a focus and not use it as an excuse anymore about being young in terms of communication, internalising and going off task. It's not just yourself that you're focusing on when you're communicating, it's helping your teammate beside you and the rest of the team.
Fremantle finishes its Great Southern visit with an open training session tomorrow and some Happy Day visits. Grace Armstrong, 7 News.
The Sheffield Shield battle between WA and South Australia is a cracker, with WA on the verge of victory at the Wacker. The reigning champions are chasing down the Redbacks' lead of 201 runs after WA bowled out the visitors this morning. Dunsborough's Lance Morris was the best of our bowlers, finishing on 3 wickets. The home side then returned to the crease. Bunbury's Sam Whiteman struggled, scoring just 14 runs. Fellow Bunbury product Jaden Goodwin is on 43 runs. A short time ago, WA needed just 9 runs to win with 2 wickets in hand. A Bunbury-born boxer is in reach of the biggest fight of his career. Alex Winwood has been approved to take on his #1 ranked opponent. The World Boxing Council has granted him the opportunity of a lifetime to fight in a world title eliminator next year against Mexican Luis Castillo. If successful, the 26-year-old will then fight the current strawweight champion for a chance to be the best in the world in his weight class.
It's the journey that we started a year ago, and I kind of made it well known to my coach after watching the champions at the time, and I said, mate, I think I can beat them right now. To be so close, 2 fights away from having that information and that crack at a world title is unreal.
Winwood is already fighting Filipino Chris Ganoza in Perth in less than a fortnight. The stakes are even higher for that matchup. He has to win to get through to next year's eliminator.
If he gets an upset victory, then that throws all our plans off. He'd probably come out firing, but whatever he does, I'm going to have an answer for it. I've had an answer for everyone else in my training camp at the moment. So, yeah, I think Chris is in a lot of trouble when he comes over.
Winwood is currently undefeated from 3 fights. Keanu Pinder's first match against his old side ended in success last night as the Wildcats continue their winning streak. The Derby product was part of the starting 5 on court, which set up an 8-point win against the Cairns Taipans. It's Perth's 4th straight win and keeps them in the top 5. The Wildcats are back on court tomorrow, taking on the Brisbane Bullets. This weekend, it's on your marks, get set and go for the annual Targa Rally Sprint in Bunbury. More than 100 vintage cars are set to battle it out for a podium finish in what's promised to be an action-packed weekend.
They're fast, adrenaline-fuelled and set to tear up Bunbury streets. Come Sunday, Bunbury's industrial area will turn into a racetrack for the 2023 Targa Sprint.
Oh, look, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is always fun this time of year. It's always a good thing to be able to get your hot rods out and go a bit silly on the streets.
Over 100 drivers race against the clock in a bid to finish the fastest. Local Mark Cates will be driving this 1969 Ford Mustang, then at the halfway mark jumps into his 1976 Holden Torana.
So we'll run the cars odds and evens, and we'll have one odd car, one even car. So we'll do the lap on the odd cars, then we'll get out, jump in the next car, and then we'll do the lapping the Evans car. And it's worked every year for the last few years. We've run a couple of cars each year and it works really good.
The green light goes off at 9 on Sunday morning, but the curtain raiser might steal the show. The show and shine on Saturday night gives car lovers a chance to admire the beasts before they do battle.
These are just two of some of the cars. There's 106 different cars and a wide range of cars. It is, if you're slightly into motorsport, be there on Sunday.
Julian Vicentini, 7 News.
Amanda's next with your weekend weather, and then in 7 News at 6, Coldplay fever hits WA, feeding tens of thousands at 2 sellout shows in our capital.
Welcome back. We could see an evening shower over the northern and eastern Kimberley tomorrow, but temperatures are set to soar across the region, remaining windy through the central west, but dry further south. Those conditions are set to stick around into Sunday. The west coast also starting to warm up. By Monday, though, those showers across our north will continue, remaining very hot across much of the region, with clear skies across our south. And well into next week, those winds across the central parts of the state will pick up as those temperatures continue to climb. Now, there's a heatwave advice warning for the Dampier Peninsula tomorrow, and it's set to continue for the next couple of days as temperatures soar. Meanwhile, sunshine in Broome and a warm 38 in Tom Price tomorrow. Similar conditions moving into the central west, but very hot in the Junction, and clear skies in Geraldton tomorrow, 35 the top there, slightly cooler in Dalwallinu. Further south, that sunshine is set to continue, 31 in Collie. It'll be a partly cloudy day in Albany, reaching 30 degrees in Bridgetown, and similar temperatures further inland with clear skies, 30 degrees in Narrogin and a touch warmer there in Merredin. Much the same along the south coast too, mostly sunny in Esperance, a top of 22, warming up in Norseman, and sunshine in Kalgoorlie, 29 the top in Leonora. On local waters tomorrow, west-southwest winds on the Kimberley coasts, but there is a strong wind warning in place for the Gascoyne coast. Swells up to 2 metres there. That warning also extending to the Geraldton coast, seas to around 1.5 metres on the Bunbury coast. Easterly winds to 20 knots on the Esperance coast tomorrow, swells to around 2 metres. Taking a look at the nation's capitals tomorrow, mostly sunny and 28 in Canberra. Showers in Hobart reaching 18 degrees, mostly sunny in Adelaide there, and a spectacular start to the weekend in Perth, sunshine and a glorious 31 degrees. That's all from me. Have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.
That will be good news to those heading to the Coldplay concert. Thanks, Amanda. 7 News from Perth is next. We'll have local updates throughout the evening, and you can catch up on tonight's program by using 7plus on your mobile or on the web. That's all from us. Good night, Western Australia.